All right, this is Prep Sports Now, a Las Vegas Sun podcast. We are brought to you by the A's and Las Vegas Aviators. Thank you for your support. Another week of high school football games coming down. I'm Ray Brewer from the Las Vegas Sun. I've told people we need to get some guest hosts, and I finally got a guest host for today. My longtime colleague and friend from Basic High School, Byron Teach. He's the voice of the Wolves. Hal, yeah. How you doing, my friend?
Hal, yeah. Welcome. It's a pleasure to be with you, sir.
Yeah. So, of course, this is one of my favorite games of the year, Henderson Bowl, which is Basic versus Green Valley. It's the two Henderson high schools. Back in the day, Green Valley used to dominate, but as the economics of Henderson kind of made them more equal, it's become more balanced. And later in the show, we'll be talking why Henderson Bowl is an important game. But first things first, this is a big week. Bishop Gorman at Mater Dei, number 1 versus number 2, sold out, probably about 10,000 fans in Southern California. Gorman's won 27 straight. Their last loss at the beginning of 2022 to Mater Dei. Like I said, last 2 national champs, and it's going to be one heck of a game. Byron, for you, Gorman football and playing in these national showcases, as someone who's affiliated to another school in town, are you guys rooting for Gorman? Do you want to see them represent our area well, or are you guys indifferent on a Gorman Mater Dei showdown?
You know, talking with Coach Cahill before the season started, I brought up the fact that Basic is going to have to travel to Gorman this year. And, he kind of looks at it as just another team on the schedule. Mind you, they are not just another team on the schedule. They are the power in Southern Nevada. Just looking at their facilities and everything, they are the cream of the crop. We have to root for Gorman just because they put Vegas on the map, and it kind of sets up the other schools to kind of follow suit. So I'm rooting for the Gales. I know they were down in Florida for their previous game, and a lot of people thought they were going to have a little trouble with that one, but they actually played pretty well.
Yeah, and so here's my deal. Everybody will say I'm a Gorman homer, which I'd like to say I'm a Las Vegas homer. I'm born and raised here, and I think what Gorman has done in high school football is tremendous. And I hope they win on Friday night in Los Angeles, because those are our kids in Vegas, and they're representing our community. And I always say that when a college recruiter comes into town, they're not only going to Gorman. Coach Browner does a great job in referring college coaches to other schools to get other kids recruited. And I think Gorman's success has really paved the way for a lot of kids to get some scholarships. So wanted to talk about the game real fast. And it's just, if you look at the talent on both sides of the field, it is absolutely disgusting. Each school has got is who's of players going to a who's who of universities, and it's projected to be a close game, and I think it's going to be a close game. For me, with Gorman's offensive line is the best in the nation. Got guys going to Tennessee, got guys going to Miami. I think they got to run the rock a little more. You saw some glimpses of that in the St. Thomas Aquinas game 2 weeks ago. But for me, I think Gorman, if they run the clock a little bit, control the game with that great offensive line, and if they play defense like they did 2 weeks ago, they closed on a 19-0 run. They had 2 interceptions late. They played a really great brand of football, getting better and better each week. Probably going to be the underdog going into this game. I think you control the line of scrimmage. You play tight defense. De facto national championship game. They could get out in a positive spot. Your take, what does Gorman have to do to win this game?
I don't think we've seen high school football for several years, and I'm curious, where do you rank this Gorman team compared to years past? This is not one of the most I would say, quarterback-driven Gorman team, right? I mean, would you say that?
So I would say that their quarterback is evolving, and Mel Spicer, we saw him. If you look at the St. Thomas Aquinas game from week 1 to week 2, made a ton of improvements. High percentage passing, even though he's had 2 interceptions. Great dime to Derek Meadows running into the end zone, and he's getting better game by game. The other Gorman quarterbacks have had multiple years as a starter, right? You go back to the late 2000s with Anu Solomon, and then you got, the Tate Martell era. He had 3 years in a row. And then Micah Alejado just had 4 years. So I think Melvin is a 1-year deal, just like Randall Jr. Cunningham was a 1-year deal. And sometimes when you go to Gorman, you have to wait to play. But I think from the outside looking in, without a quarterback who's threatening to be the national player of the year, that identity kind of goes away. And you're like, okay, well, where does this Gorman team kind of fit in? And he's not Darian Thompson Robinson, who played 1 year. He's more of just a great high school quarterback who's making all the throws.
I would totally agree, and I agree with your assessment, though, too. I mean, you got your 4, solid offensive linemen who are going to, be top D1 programs. You got to run the rock and make them earn their keep, so to speak, and find opportunistic times to get Derek Meadows the football. Had a brief conversation with him during Meter Day at Allegiant with the Southern Nevada Coach Association. Great guy. He's going to do wonders at LSU when he goes there in the next level. But I think I give the Gales a shot. They're going to be Southern Cal, and I think the Gales Nation's going to travel well to support them, and give them a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Make no doubt about it. This is the game nationally. Obviously the closeness from Vegas to LA. Ton of people are going to be driving over for the game, and like I said, Gorman is going to be the underdog. But that how many times could you say in the post Sanchez era that Gorman has been the underdog? So it's going to be a fun night of high school football. We, though, my friend, are going to be at Henderson Bowl, Basic versus Green Valley. We saw some rivalry games last week, right? Vegas beat Rancho in the Bone game, 27 game winning streak there for the Wildcats. I will tell you that game hasn't lost its luster. The alumni care so much on both sides, but Vegas has won 27 in a row. Crushed them 60-6. You've got the Battle of the Bulls, Arborview over Legacy. It's a newer rivalry in the Northwest, kind of important. Great crowd by Arborview, not so much by Legacy. Arborview rolls 42-7. I love the cleat game, Shap Eldorado, because I went to Shap. And I also love the Hammer game, Moapa Valley, Virgin Valley, because I have such great respect for the Mesquite and Overton communities. But still, and maybe it's because I grew up with this game in my journalism career, or maybe because I live in Henderson, but Henderson Bowl for me is just so special. I remember when Laquan Phillips had his awful spine injury, and he just talked so much about the game and how important it was to him. And it really solidified for me that, the other side, Green Valley, likes it as much as Basic did, because Basic always cared more about it than Green Valley did. And now we've got what I feel is one of the best rivalries in the state. I don't know where you rank it, but why is the game important for everybody down there in East Henderson? Well,
there's several factors that go into that, but I was there in the press box at Don Taylor Stadium when Laquan Phillips made a return to the field to support the Gators. It was very emotional. So the emotion factor between both these teams are very, very high. Whatever the records are, I know this is an early matchup between these teams. Is going to be out the window. It is all. They want to get the ball back in the Gator sense. But for basic, how about that game? You and I were on the sidelines for that thriller late in the season, or middle of the season, I should say, where the Wolves are trying to win it for the first time in 7 years, and the emotions with that, the final seconds, they blocked the kick, and to see the Wolves rush the field at the Swamp was one of the most incredible moments of my covering high school football that I've ever seen.
So yeah, I think you bring up a good point, and we should have given a little of the recent history. Last year, Basic went into Green Valley, won a back-and-forth game at the end on a blocked field goal attempt, but then Green Valley came back 3 weeks later in the playoffs and beat Basic at Basic to end the Basic season. Of course, the Henderson Bowl was an exchange in the playoff game, but it just shows how close the two teams are in talent and ability. And I think it's going to be another close game on Friday night. Is that what you expect?
Yeah, I would expect that. I've seen Basic twice so far this season. They were at Legacy, put up a better fight in the second half, but just Legacy was just way too much. Like Gorman, Basic has I would say, an evolving quarterback position that hopefully is getting better with time. But for Basic, it is going to have to be. They're going to have to get out to a hot start, I would say. And I haven't seen Green Valley yet, but I don't think this is the same Green Valley team that we've seen in years past. I'm pretty sure they lost a lot of people due to graduation and whatnot. But for whatever that said, those players are on both sides, Basic and Green Valley, are going to be ready to go. And I remember the stories that you would write, Mr. Brewer, where you would profile Mr. Papa Cahill. He would wear that gator on his ankle, and he would drag it across the field at Doncaster Stadium during practice to get the players, excited, get them motivated, get that hunger. I think he's going to bring that gator out to get these Basic Wolves fired up.
Yeah, and I have one theory. Best player on the field. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but Trey Glasper committed to Oregon State for Green Valley. He's special. Not sure Basic's got an answer for him in the pass game. And I think that, the new coach, Powell, over at Green Valley, his first time as head coach in the rivalry game. Of course, the Cahill family, Grandpa's on staff. Jeff's son is a wide receiver who had his first touchdown. And Jeff's nephew is on the team as well. So it's just really interesting time to be a Henderson Bowl fan. Going to be a great game. I want to ask you your pick, but I think I know who you're going to take based on your allegiance. But tell us why Basic is going to win the game.
I'm expecting a close game. I think it's going to be close like last year. I can see it come down to a couple of final plays down the stretch. But if Basic is going to win, it is going to have to be because they are controlling the clock with their run game, because they've shown some glimpses there. If they can get the run game going, that they can hold serve, and if they do a fast lead, I think that's going to prove vital for them. And Javion Rhodes is our quarterback, but he's shown some flashes that he can get the football down the field. So if he can make some clutch throws to you got Trey Trailer on the wide outside, you got Donovan Glover, and others, and you mentioned Loudon Cahill. What a special moment that was. I was up in the box calling that one, and wow, that was truly emotional. But I'm I'm thinking it's going to be, I would say, a field goal affair.
Got it. Well, everybody, I want to thank the greatest PA announcer that I know for taking time out of his day to join our Prep Sports Now podcast, brought to you by the A's in Las Vegas Aviators. If you want to be a guest host or even a guest on my show, hit me up on Twitter. I know I've got a few people already lined up. And Byron, I hope you have a good day. I will see you on Friday night at Don Taylor Stadium. Thank you so much, and hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much, brother.
All right, and we will continue the show here. We're going to go right to my picks. It's one of those fun times of the year where we're starting to learn a little bit about a lot of the teams, yet at the same time, there's going to be some surprise results. And it's just it's a great time to be handicapping these games. I'm going to start with the big game of the week, Bishop Gorman at Mater Dei. Like I said earlier in the show, rooting for Gorman because, it's our hometown kids, but I think Mater Dei in LA is going to be tough to beat. I think Gorman has its hands full. It's going to be a close game, but I have Mater Dei beating Bishop Gorman. I guess I might have picked up some love from our listeners or some hate from our listeners for that, but I've got Mater Dei number 1 in Max Preps over Gorman number 2 in Max Preps. Speaking of games in Southern California, Liberty is at Mission Viejo. Mission Viejo, a top 20 team. Nationally, I believe they're 15th by Max Preps. Liberty 0-2, lost at home against Milani last week in the Knife Island Classic. I'll tell you this about the Patriots. Somebody messaged me and they said, hey, Arborview's 2-0. Is Arborview better than Liberty? You got to understand Liberty, everybody. The Patriots schedule who they do so they can get ready to beat Gorman. They know they're going to beat everybody else. They're getting ready to play Gorman. The year they won the state championship, I believe their record was 7-6. They lost all 6 out-of-state games. Then they beat Gorman for the state championship. Maybe a similar script this year. Liberty is just getting good reps against quality competition, and they'll be better for it once they get to league play. Patriots going into LA a little further than Gorman to play Mission Viejo, and Mission Viejo is going to win this game. So Mission Viejo over Liberty. Next game, Henderson Bowl. I love it. Thank you to Byron for coming on to talk about the game. I think this is going to be close just because of the nature of the rivalry. My favorite, does anybody have a coin? I think this is a classic. I'll take the best player on the field. Green Valley 22, Basic 19. Palo Verde playing Arborview. And how about those Aggies? 2-0. They've put up more than 400 points. More than 400 points. More than 40 points the initial 2 weeks of the season. Palo Verde is coming off a bye. Lost in Reno 2 weeks ago. I think the Aggies and their air raid Aggie offense puts up 40 again. 47-13, Arborview with the win. Spring Valley versus Slam, Nevada. I don't know what to think of Slam. They're 0-3. Going into the season, I had them as a preseason top 10 team in Nevada, and they have lost and lost and lost. They're playing Spring Valley this week. Spring Valley, they won the banner game last week against Bonanza. I'm taking Slam 28-18. They've lost. I'm still a believer. Bottom line, Slam 28, Spring Valley 18. We'll see how Slam does against the likes of Mawapa Valley and Virgin Valley in league play. Our next game, Boulder City at Sunrise Mountain. Boulder City, great performance Friday night. They lost to Losi 20-19. Sunrise Mountain played its first game, lost handily to Virgin Valley. Listen, folks, Sunrise Mountain has struggled getting some kids eligible. First game of the season, going to make some mistakes. I think they're going to be back at full strength. They're going to be nasty when it's all said and done. I got the Miners They're going to win a close one over Boulder City. Next up, great game, Virgin Valley at Mojave. Let me tell you, I had Canyon Springs beating Mojave last week. Mojave pitched a shutout, running clock victory. They're big up front. Virgin Valley is small up front, but I don't care. I think Virgin Valley might be the best team in the 3A Southern League. They're running the ball well. They're well organized. If they can make up for the disparity on the line, I think they win the game. Virgin Valley 29, Mojave 26. Going to be close. Next game, Valley at Clark. Shout out to Clark, 2-0 to start the season. Make it 3-0, baby. I got the Chargers over the Vikings of Valley. Next up, Democracy Prep at Cimarron Memorial. Cimarron, they went up there. They gave Moapa Valley a heck of a game in the first half last week, only trailed by 1 at halftime before they fell apart. I think Cimarron's going to win this game against Democracy Prep. Cimarron with the win. Foothill at Silverado, a Victory Bell game. Great rivalry that isn't played every year. It's not Henderson Bowl. It doesn't have meaning because the two schools aren't close, but it's the Victory Bell game, and I got the Foothill Falcons, One Hill prevailing. Up next, Lincoln, California at Coronado. Listen, I told you guys last week, Adrian Cross, the quarterback, AK for Coronado, he's thrown for 5 touchdowns in each of the first 2 games. Coronado, they're 2-0. They're taking on Lincoln of San Diego. Arborview won at Lincoln 45-44 in week 1. Arborview had 5 touchdown passes in the first half. Coronado's going to be able to sling the rock around, and they're going to have a great showing. But I'm going with one of my theories. I'm taking the California school over the Nevada school. I got Lincoln in a great game right here in Henderson. Next up, Shadow Ridge is hosting Quart. I can't read my handwriting. Hill from California. I got Shadow Ridge. They lost last week in Idaho, and I still think they're one of the class teams in the 5A Division II. I got Shadow Ridge in the misdirection offense. Next up, Desert Pines at Legacy. Desert Pines 1-1. Lost a close game last week in California. Legacy, the defending Class 5A Division III champs, licking its wounds a little bit. I will take the Desert Pines Jaguars. Desert Pines over Legacy. Next up, Bonanza at Durango. Durango, shout out to them. They broke an 11-game losing streak last week. Had a defensive touchdown, a safety to help the win. And I got Durango winning back-to-back games. Trailblazers over Bengals. Sierra Vista at Desert Oasis, our next game. Desert Oasis has won 3 straight to open the season. They're scoring at a high mark. They get it done again against Sierra Vista. Desert Oasis over Sierra Vista. Pahrump at Somerset Losi. I don't care where Parump's playing in Vegas. I'm taking the other team. Pahrump wins at Pahrump. They lose in Vegas. Somerset Losi over Pahrump. Snow Canyon, Utah at Centennial. Bulldogs, defending state champs, looking for their first win. Snow Canyon also looking for their first win. I'll take the Utah school, Snow Canyon. Moapa Valley at Canyon Springs. The Pirates 3-0. Hasn't been pretty. They've been pretty, choppy. A lot of turnovers, penalties the first 3 weeks. Somehow, the Pirates, they're going to win 10 games. And they beat up on Canyon Springs. It's struggling to start the season. Moapa Valley over Canyon Springs in North Las Vegas. The Pirates haven't been perfect, but they're getting there. Next up, El Dorado at Coachella Valley. Listen, any team from Vegas going to Cali, I'll take the Cali team. Give me California over Nevada. Chaparral at Mater East. Shout out to Mater East. They had a big win last week. I want to give some props to one of their guys, but a great performance by their quarterback, Dalen James, 375 yards, 5 touchdowns. They beat my Cowboys this Friday night. Last game, Rancho at Del Sol. Del Sol beat Western last week. They only won one game last year. They're going to win 2 in 7 days. The Dragons of Del Sol. That goes for my picks. Again, some big-time games in California. Gorman at Mater Dei, Liberty at Mission Viejo. Going to be a great Friday night of football. Shout out to everybody for following us at Las Vegas Sun. This is Prep Sports Now, a Las Vegas Sun sports podcast. We're brought to you by the A's and the Las Vegas Aviators. Thank you for all you do for high school sports. And again, if you want to be a guest host on this show, hit me up on Twitter at RayBrewer21. Have a great day.